Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever it is that you happen to be. Let me get me tea. Nice touch of Earl Grey this morning, just to get the older blood flowing. First things first. Come be a war teacher. New cohort starting in October. You can see the link on my pinned tweet, which will take you directly to the website so you can make an inquiry and we can add you to the list. Get in the WhatsApp group and get you chatting with the other good folks. So please do come and join me. If not, if you can buy me a coffee or a super thanks, that'd be great. Or subscribe to my Substack in any way that you can to support. I've got, this stuff that you expect to happen and see it, happen the way it happens, keeps on trundling. And we're back to talk about the lovely Roisin, who I believe, first of all, Roisin Murphy, who was of Monaco. Those of you that know Monaco, I remember Monaco from the 90s. That great album, what the hell was it called? Do You Like My Tight Sweater? It was a really good album. And there was something on the back and in the sleeve notes about lying on the floor with two speakers either side of your head. I remember doing it. Stoned off my face. Yep. In Tesco's. No, I'm kidding. Right, so the lovely Roisin Murphy, who was previously in Monaco, who, got in a kerfuffle and a bit of a thingy-bobby going on with about this, about puberty blockers and trans nonsense, and then issued an apology, and they just went for her anyway. So it's don't ever give these people a bloody inch, is my advice and guidance on this one, quite frankly. And today we've got the BBC are back having a go. Well, the woke central BBC, which quite frankly at this point needs to go. I mean, it's so corrupted by this nonsense. If it doesn't set its stall out correctly, I think the people will eventually call for it to be completely abandoned, which would be a terrible shame because they've done some great stuff in the past, haven't they? This is the people that gave us I, Claudius, right? And Doctor Who, and Life on Earth. And now what we got? Wokesters fannying about in the archives, grabbing it by the articles on the BBC. So the Daily Mail, the Daily Fail today are reporting that Roisin Murphy is, her music's being removed from the BBC, which is this real? I mean, it's the Daily Fail, so I sort of read it and go, yeah, just a little bit sceptical would be a good idea here, because the Daily Fail is not known for its veracity all the time, although it does, certainly, unlike most papers, tackle just about anything. I mean, that's the one thing you can say about it. It will have a go at whatever. It will, really dig in on something, rather where most newspapers would fear to tread. So we've got this situation with Roisin Murphy where she criticised puberty blockers, apologised, which Roisin, lovely. I'm really glad things are going well because you've gone, I believe, to the top of the charts. It's been really amazing. The Streisand effect has taken place. It's like there's a quaking in the universe. You've done something and Streisand's gone, Papa, can you hear me? And it's resonated around the world, and now you're at number one. Not least of all because you're a very talented individual, and secondly, possibly because people are fed up with the wokesters. But this doesn't seem to have bothered the BBC. The BBC, bless them, the British broadcasting crap bunch right now. There was supposed to be a celebration of 6 hours of work by the corporation on 6 Music Channel, which was next week. But on Monday, bosses decided to axe them, leaving staff at the station furious. So they axed 6 hours of Roisin's work. 5 hours of Miss Murphy's songs, interviews and highlights of her concerts, which were put together for a programme called The 6 Music Artists Collection, was due to be aired between midnight and 5 a.m. next Monday and again on Tuesday. Right? Guess what they've done? However, they were suddenly cancelled earlier this week with no explanation given to production staff. Instead, new shows have been made to feature woke rapper Little Sims. I've no idea who Little Sims is, and frankly, I don't care. It's not their fault that, they've replaced Roisin, but if they had any gumption, they'd be asking questions why. So, in fact, she's been cancelled. It's just most peculiar that they think that they can do this sort of thing if this is what has happened. And that they've done it, nevertheless. So if you want to have a read, it's in the Dubras as usual. So, there's also, they had some radio shows, it says here, from when she was previously in the 90s band Monaco that I mentioned earlier. So the time is now. Oh, wonderful. Right. Are also unavailable to listen to on BBC Sounds. This indicates something else to me. Sorry, Roisin, I'm going to go off piste. Right. This indicates something else to me. I don't like the fact they're starting to control the music again, because for a very long time they didn't, let alone the film and TV. Because years ago, I was having this conversation with the Warrior Teachers last night in session 2 where we did our textual analysis. And, we used to have to get our 15p, go down the shop and queue and get your record, We're getting to the point where they can strangle stuff if they don't want you to see it. That's bad news. This is why we need ownership. right? Ownership of games, of film, ownership of music. You've got to start collecting stuff. Start collecting. Get yourself some storage, good storage, and start collecting. Start sharing amongst yourselves quietly. But don't do it, obviously, because it's illegal. But start sharing amongst yourself quietly, which I don't recommend because it's illegal. Because we're going to need to make sure that people like the BBC and other organisations like Spotify and Amazon, whoever it may be, cannot start stifling culture because they don't like it, which is what they're going to do, right? Oh, hang on a minute, that film's problematic, we'll stop it. Oh, that's by that horrible Roisin woman. Do you remember her? Oh, yes. She questioned the murder, the surgical mutilation and the medical mutilation of children. And yes, no, we won't have her on here. Make sure your mate round the corner's got it. Have you got that album by? Yeah, I have. They'll start strangling it. Not originally, because when it comes out, you can buy it and do all that. But then one day you'll go to it and it's not there because you don't own it. This all points to me towards this stuff said before about the importance of ownership. So Roisin had said about puberty blockers what she said. We know the story on that because I've covered it before. But when they screenshotted the post, it went around the world. Everybody knew. It's all that sort of stuff. And insider from the BBC told the Mail, however, that the BBC is supposed to be an impartial organisation, so it is outrageous that Roisin can't express her view without being cancelled by our national broadcaster. I have, the same feelings, quite frankly. It's like she has had her voice taken away from her. It basically means she can't say what she thinks if she wants to appear on licence fee funded airwaves. Whatever happened to free speech? The BBC, free speech. The BBC, free speech. That went long ago, with their woke Stasi patrolling the halls with their chai lattes. It's not chai latte. What is it they drink? Soy, is it? There are many people working at Six Music who are deeply upset by this decision. So this is not something that everybody's happy about. And to make things worse, the bosses weren't exactly open about it. So they just did it. Now they won't talk about it. Bosses, woke bosses. They're wondering what this means for them. They thought they worked at a place with open views. It is understood that a meeting was held on Monday when the situation was discussed. The schedule was later changed and published on their website, despite her being on course to claim the second spot on the UK album chart for her sixth studio album, Hit Parade, which was released last Friday. 2 of Miss Murphy's concerts due to take place in London this week have also been cancelled, with her fans describing the decision as an example of cancel culture. But cancel culture doesn't exist. Sorry, say that again. What do you say? Cancel culture doesn't exist. Right. People still say it. Oh, it's a storm in a teacup. Cancel culture doesn't exist. Right. Tell Roisin that. Right. These people. Right. But there's something even more telling. Go and have a read of it, because it's worth having a read of. But I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to go straight to the bottom. What kind of man am I? Right. Okay. A BBC spokeswoman said, "The artist collections from our archive are regularly on rotation and frequently change to reflect station-wide initiatives as they get confirmed." I think that's a really interesting statement, because if this is right, correct what the Mail are saying, and if this is, they've gone, Roisin Murphy, we having none of her, vile transphobe, we shall have naught to do with her, get everything off, right? Is that what happened? Or is it, right, okay, we need to get rid of this. We need to take her stuff down. We're going to need a wide initiative. So what they're saying is that there's actually a process behind this. If there's a process, there'll be emails. If there's emails, you can make an FOI. Who, why, when, how, right? Who decided they could do this? Who decided? That's what we've got to be asking. So I think it sounds nefarious. If the Mail have got it right, it certainly is nefarious. And I would say that the BBC needs to be held accountable. Or are they responding to? They'll say we're responding to the public mood, right? Okay, you're not. You're responding to the nonsense being wibbled by a bunch of inconsiderate, anti-society, anti-science, anti-reality nutters. That's who you're responding to. Stop responding to them, you woke tossbags. All right. So there we go. BBC, defund the bloody lot. I'm done with them. I'll see you later. Bye.